Welcome back for another video. Today we're going to discuss the best transfers to make for double Gameweek 28 and beyond. Some of us are planning to free hit Gameweek 29, some of us aren't, so we're going to cover both approaches for the next few game weeks. Let's get into it. Starting with the goalkeepers. So it's Neto and Kaminsky with a double Gameweek this week, and they are the top two in the projections. Neto on 7.9 points and Kaminsky projected 6.2. Neto's going to have two home games against Sheffield United and Luton, while Kaminsky's going to have two away games against Crystal Palace and Bournemouth. So it's undeniably a better double game week for Neto. But if you aren't planning to free hit Gameweek 29 and you need a keeper that plays, then Kaminsky's the no-brainer pick this week. He also rotates reasonably well with Areola and Dubravka, who are two very popular keepers. There's a good chance that you've got one of Areola or Dubravka. I've cut the rotation graphic off for Gameweek 34 here, after which point you might be looking to activate your wildcard if you still got it. I suppose there is potential for Bournemouth to be a little bit weaker following the injury to Messi, but not one to overthink really. Beyond the double Gameweek, Bournemouth still have a really solid fixture run. After blank Gameweek 29, they've got Everton, Palace and then Luton. Another overlooked factor when buying Bournemouth players, assuming you're free hitting Gameweek 29, is the potential double Gameweek 34 for Bournemouth. This graphic from Ben Cronin's got the predicted doubles and blanks for the rest of the season. And in Gameweek 34, Bournemouth, Palace, Everton and Sheffield United are the four teams who are likely double Gameweek. However, it's not guaranteed at this point, and it could end up in Gameweek 37 instead. But Bournemouth's potential double in 34 would be Villa and Wolves away, which isn't too bad. Arsenal face Brentford this week, so as a reminder, Rice ineligible to face his parent club while on loan from Brentford, so Ramsdale's third on the keeper projections of 4.3. Obviously not one to transfer in this week, but something to keep in mind if you've got Raya. He's going to be red flagged for next game week only. I know very few of you play draft, but it could be a good transfer for the draft mode for 1 week only. If you're on a wildcard this week and you're looking to avoid free hitting in Gameweek 29, then the Kaminsky and Johnston pair could actually work out well. One to consider given the predicted double Gameweek 34 for Palace. Moving on to defenders for Gameweek 28. Smith tops the table with 7.5 points, Zabarnyi 7.3 and Kirkez 6.9. Following Senesi's injury, Methven also makes the table with 4.4, with lower predicted minutes until we've got further news on Senesi's injury and whether he does indeed miss the double game week. He was holding the back of his leg when he came off injured, so it could be a hamstring injury, in which case there's a good chance he's not going to be involved this game week. So which Bournemouth defender is the best one? Smith tops the table here, and he's nailed for the time being. Aarons is his competition, who is currently sidelined with injury. Zabarnyi is completely nailed. Kirkez is as well, while Kelly's sidelined. So in a nutshell, Aarons could share minutes with Smith later in the season, and Kelly could share minutes with Kirkez once he's back. So Zabarnyi is the logical pick to save yourself the potential headache down the line. As we said, Bournemouth could double in Gameweek 34, so the last thing you want is a player coming back from injury at some point over the next 6 weeks before Gameweek 34 and putting your double Gameweek asset at risk. So Zabarnyi is the most sensible pick of the four. Doughty's projected 5.2 points, and although there's low clean sheet potential, he has got an attacking return in him with the sheer number of crosses he pumps into the box, and he takes some set pieces as well. Some of you might feel this double game week's a trap, which is perfectly fine. In Luton's case, it must be mentioned, they're actually the only team not to keep a clean sheet in an away game all season. Bournemouth have kept 3 clean sheets in home games this season. So to summarise, if you want a double game week defender, Zabarnyi and Doughty are the two best picks. Smith and Kirkez in fullback probably likelier than Zabarnyi to get an attacking return, but longer term they could share minutes with their competition here and there. In terms of defensive underlying numbers, Bournemouth have conceded 42.37 expected goals, which ranks mid-table. 6 clean sheets, 47 goals conceded. Luton on the other hand are the worst in the league for expected goals conceded with 58.82 XGC. If you were looking for a super budget Luton defender like Bell, then don't expect much and they're probably worth avoiding. Arsenal are home to Brentford next game week, so Gabriel, Saliba and White make the table as well. If you're looking for a defender that plays in Gameweek 29, then Udogie is an option for 4.9 mil. Returned from injury last match in a 3-1 win over Palace. Porro didn't make that game, but he does have a chance of returning for the Villa game. Konsa also returned from injury for Villa, and he started in right centre back in their win over Luton. Moving on to the midfielders, and Tavernier tops the table with 8.4 points this week, followed by Christie and then Kluivert. None of these three have actually done much of note this season. Tavernier's got 2 goals, 4 assists, Christie's got 2 assists, and Kluivert's got 4 goals. It is a very good double though, so it's a type of fixtures where they could get something, but there is obvious potential for these to be a trap. Tavernier has been out of form lately. He looked very wasteful with some of his shots last match. He's not looked his best for a while. Areola loves him though, and he seems to be a regular starter. Not out of the question for him to start one, and Sinistera starts the other though. Saka's projected 6.9 points against Brentford, Barkley 5.9 points. Again, if you're building towards a non-free hit 29 team, then Barkley's a good pick for only 5 mil. He's been bossing the Luton midfield all season, though just 3 goals and 4 assists as far as returns. Son's projected 5.6 points this week, and Maddison's another one to consider if you're building towards Gameweek 29. Oddly, Richarlison said he might be back next match, which is the total opposite of what Postecoglou said to the press, when he suggested 3 to 4 weeks out. Bowen just barely misses out making the table this week. He's projected 5.5 points for the West Ham game home to Burnley this week. It is a perfect entry point to buy Bowen if you're not looking to free hit in Gameweek 29. Or if you haven't got the budget for Bowen, then Kudus for 6.8 mil is a great option as well, and an awesome differential, about 3% ownership. Aston Villa players are going to be popular for the Gameweek 29 free hitters, and this week Bailey's projected 4.1 points, Douglas Luiz 3.9. It's very close between them. In my eyes, Douglas Luiz is still the better pick of the two, as he's nailed to play 90 every match. He's on set pieces and penalties. Lots of routes to points for him. Bailey, undeniably the more explosive, but after 27 game weeks, he's only made it to 90 minutes twice all season, with Diaby waiting in the wings and often subbed on for one another during games. Moving on to the forwards, and of course it's Solanke top, projected 11.7 points this week. If you've not got him, it's worth looking at buying, even if you're not free hitting in Gameweek 29 and you have to take a hit or two elsewhere on your team. He'll be the most captain player this week by active managers, and it really doesn't get much better than Sheffield United and Luton home in a double game week. He did have a pretty quiet game against Burnley last match. He only took 1 shot all game, but unless there's news over the course of the week that the knee injury is causing him major issues, he's hands down the best captain this week. 4.5 mil forward Semenyo, second on the table with 7.2 points. As far as the 4.5 mil forwards, he's having a great season with 5 goals, 3 assists. He started 5 of the last 6 games, so he's not completely nailed. If we have a look at expected goal data for the season, Bournemouth rank about mid-table again with 37.92 XG. They've scored 36 goals with a big chance every 49 minutes. If we look at strikers in isolation though, Solanke's hogging a huge chunk of the expected goals. His 16.59 expected goal involvement ranks 3rd among all strikers, and as far as non-penalty expected goals, Solanke's 14.3 ranks 2nd among all strikers. Only Haaland's got higher this season. So when Bournemouth score, there's a high likelihood that Solanke's involved. Morris is just behind, projected 6.2 points, and again, if you're building towards a Gameweek 29 team, then he's a great pick. A popular strategy for those looking to save the free hit is to dead end your team into Gameweek 29, and then scrape through Gameweek 30, and then wildcard into Gameweek 31, ready for the rest of the season. Ogbene makes the table with 4.7 points, but he's an avoid. He was actually benched last match, and he's rarely involved in the goals. We're still waiting to hear when Adebayo is going to be back from injury. It's looking unlikely he's going to be involved in the double game week, sadly. He's been a huge miss for Luton. The Solanke captaincy this week is helped by the fact that Man City are away to Liverpool. As such, Haaland's projected 5.6 points at Anfield. Let us know in the comments if it's a straightforward Solanke captaincy for you, or if you're eyeing up another double game week player, or even a single game week player like Haaland, Watkins or Saka. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, consider subscribing. It's completely free and you can always change your mind. See you soon for the next one.